Hello dear students, let's start the part 2 of chapter 6, that is chemical reaction of class 8th in subject chemistry. Now in this part of the lecture we will discuss about the displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, reactivity series, and the types of reaction on the basis of heat absorption and heat release. Let's start first. The displacement reactions. First, what is the displacement reaction? Now, definition of the displacement reaction is a reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from a compound is called a displacement or a substitution reaction. So, in the displacement reaction, a more active element displaces a less reactive elements from its compounds and form a new compound. That reaction is called the displacement reaction. Suppose AB is a compound which reacts with a C, and C is more reactive than A. Then C displaces the A and forms a compound, a new compound CB, and displaces the A. So this reaction is called the displacement reaction and also the substitution reaction, because C substituted the A. So this type of reaction is called the displacement reaction or substitution reactions. Now, in the reactivity series, some metals are arranged according to their reactivity, such as potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, and so on. So elements are arranged according to their reactivity, decreasing order of their reactivity. So potassium is more reactive than the sodium. Sodium is more reactive than the calcium, and calcium is more reactive than the magnesium. Magnesium is also more reactive than the aluminum. So potassium is more reactive and aluminum is least reactive. So in this series, the reactivity arrange of the metals according to their reactivity, arrange the metals according to their decreasing reactivity. So if any displacement reaction, if calcium is present and potassium is also present, then potassium displaces the calcium. So the metals which occupy their position on the top, they displaces the lower metals which occupy in the lower positions, which displaces the metals which occupy in the lower position in this series from their compounds. That reaction is called the displacement reactions. Let's see the examples. Now AB combined with C, then C displaces the A and form the CB and displaces the A. So this is a type of displacement reaction. Now, as for example, now when taking a beaker and added the blue solution of the copper sulfate, aqueous solution of the copper sulfate which having the blue color, then add a zinc granule in the solution of the copper sulfate Then copper sulfate, then zinc displaces the copper from the copper sulfates and they form the zinc sulfate and precipitate the copper. So after some time the blue color of the copper sulfate will disappear and reddish brown color will appear due to the copper. So in this type of reaction, zinc displaces the copper from the copper sulfates and they form the zinc sulfate and copper. So this is a type of the displacement reaction. Now next, now a metal which is more reactive than hydrogen displaces hydrogen from an acid, alkali or water, and hydrogen gas is released. So in the reactivity series, some metals are arranged. And the metals which occupy above the hydrogen in the activity series, that all metals displaces the hydrogen gas from the acid, alkali or water, and those metals which placed below the hydrogen, they are unable to displaces the hydrogen gas from the alkali or acid or water. So Kanaka Magaljan, fashion, pub, Kanaka Magaljan, fashion, pub, then hydrogen, then copper, then Hg, then silver, then gold and platinum. So when we move from top to the bottom in this activity series, the activity of the metal will decreases. So the elements, so potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, tin, lead, these all elements having the positions above the hydrogens, copper, mercury, silver and gold, that these metals have the position below the hydrogens. So the metals sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, tin and lead, these all metals displaces the hydrogen gas or release the hydrogen gas from the acid, alkali and water, because these all metals are more reactive than the hydrogens. But those metals, copper, mercury, silver, gold, platinum, these all metals are less reactive than the hydrogen, and these metals do not release the hydrogen gas from the acid, alkali and water. So as for example, when zinc granules added in the dilute solution, dilute hydrochloric acid HCl, then zinc granule displaces the hydrogen gas from the hydrochloric acid and they form the zinc chloride and the hydrogen gas released, because the zinc having the position above the hydrogen in the reactivity series. So zinc is more reactive than the hydrogens, so they displace, so the zinc displaces the hydrogen from the hydrochloric acid. Now next example, when zinc granules added in the dilute solution of the sodium hydroxide is a base, then they release the hydrogen gas and form a salt sodium zincate Na2ZnO2. So zinc is an amphoteric element and zinc is also more reactive than the hydrogen, so they displaces the hydrogen from acid and base and release the hydrogens as a gas. because zinc is more reactive than the hydrogen. Now the activity. In this activity, the aim of this activity is to show the displacement reaction between two compounds. To show the displacement reaction between two compounds, suppose AB and C. So to show the displacement reaction between two compounds, the aim of this activity is. Now the material required for this activity is a beaker, copper sulfate solution, and some pieces of the magnesium. Now procedure. First, in the procedure, first take in a beaker and fill the beaker with copper sulfate solutions. So as you know that copper sulfate solution has the blue colors. So the blue color appear in this beaker due to the copper sulfate solutions. Then add a few pieces of magnesium in it. So add in the few pieces of the magnesium. This is the magnesium. Magnesium is having the silvery white color. So add the few pieces of the magnesium. Adding the few pieces of the magnesium in this solution. That means the solution of the copper sulfate solution is having in the beaker. Then leave it undisturbed for some time. After some times, we will observe that the solution of the copper sulfate, the color of the blue color of the copper sulfate solution becomes gradually colorless, and magnesium becomes reddish brown. Why? Because due to the displacement reactions between copper sulfate and the magnesium. That means magnesium displaces the copper from the copper sulfates. So the color of the copper sulfates, which was blue, becomes the colorless, and that color deposited on the magnesiums due to deposition of the copper on the magnesiums. The color of the magnesium becomes reddish brown, and the some magnesium go into the solution and they form the magnesium sulfate, MgSO4, magnesium sulfate, which do not have any colors. So due to the magnesium sulfate, the color will lost, the color have been lost, and the solution becomes colorless. So observation. What happened in the observation? After some time, observe that the blue color of copper sulfate disappear and magnesium turns brown as the displaces copper is deposited on it. So the magnesium displaces the copper from copper sulfate and they form the magnesium sulfate. So the blue color of copper sulfate disappear and they form the copper, and copper having the reddish brown color, which is deposited on the magnesiums. Now what conclusion after this activity we get? This shows that displacement reaction between magnesium and copper. So these activities shows that the displacement reactions taking place between magnesium and copper sulfate. Now the reaction is represented by the reaction that happens in this activity. So magnesium combined with copper sulfates. So magnesium displaces the copper from the copper sulfates and they form the magnesium sulfate and displaces the copper as a precipitate. So these activities shows that displacement reaction taking place between the magnesium and copper sulfate. Now the next reaction that is double displacement reaction or double decomposition reaction. This one is the fourth type of the reaction that given in your book of chapter 6. So double decomposition reaction or double displacement reactions. In these reactions, the ions exchange to each others and they form the new chemical compounds. So definition about this reaction: a reaction in which two compounds exchange their ions in aqueous solution to form two new compounds is called a double decomposition reaction or double displacement reactions. So in this type of the reaction, the two compounds exchange their ion to each other and they form the two new compounds. As for example, when AB combined with CD, then A exchange with C and C exchange with A, and they forms the CB plus BD. So in these reactions, the ions are exchanged to each other and they form the two new types of the compounds. So this is a type of the double displacement reaction or double decomposition reaction. So this reaction occurs generally in the ionic compounds only, not in the covalent compounds. And double decomposition reaction or double displacement reaction are also called partner exchange reaction because they exchange their partner. In this reaction, the partner are exchanged to each other. As for example, when AB combined with CD, they form the CB plus AD. So A exchange with the C and C exchange with the A. So double exchange taken place in this reaction. So it is called the partner exchange reaction or double displacement reactions. For example, now double decomposition reaction are of two types: precipitation reaction and neutralization reactions. So double decomposition reaction are of two types: precipitation reaction and the neutralization reaction. So let's see one by one the precipitation reaction and the neutralization and their examples. So first, what is the precipitation reaction? Now, a chemical reaction in which two compounds in aqueous state react to form an insoluble compound as one of the product is called a precipitation reactions. Suppose a compound A which is soluble in the water and a compound B which is also soluble in the waters. The solution of compound A and solution of compound B, when mixing to each other, then they react to each other and form an insoluble substance C plus D. Suppose C is insoluble, so if insoluble in the solutions after the completion of the reactions, the C formed which is insoluble in the solutions, that C is called the precipitate, PPT, precipitate, and this reaction is called the precipitation reactions. So in the precipitation reactions, when two soluble compounds are react to each other to form an insoluble compound as a product, then this reaction is called the precipitation reactions, and that insoluble compound is called the precipitate, PPT, in the short form PPT. So let's see the examples. Now the insoluble compound which is formed is called the precipitate. Let's see the examples. Now when solution of the sodium chlorides added in the solution of a silver nitrate, then they produce a product silver chloride which is having the white precipitate, white color, and also form the sodium nitrate as a byproduct. Sodium nitrate is soluble in the water, but silver chloride, which is insoluble in the water, which having the white colors, that is called the precipitate. So in this reaction, an insoluble HCl substance is formed, precipitate is formed. So this is a type of precipitation reactions. Let's see this diagram. Now taking the sodium chloride in a beaker and adding the silver nitrate in this beaker, solution of sodium chloride and sodium silver nitrate in this beaker, then they forms a white precipitate. This is the white precipitate of silver chloride. So the formation of the white precipitate indicates that this is a type of precipitation reaction. Let's see the next example. When taken a copper sulfate solution in a beaker and sodium hydroxide solution in another beaker. Now adding the sodium hydroxide solution in the copper sulfate solutions, then we get a white precipitate of the copper hydroxide, CuOH2, and a byproduct sodium sulfate. So the appearance of the white precipitate copper hydroxide indicates that this is a type of precipitation reactions, because in these reactions the white precipitate appear in the product after completion of the reaction as a copper hydroxide. So this is a type of the precipitation reaction. Now next activity. The aim of this activity is to demonstrate the precipitation reaction between solution of barium chloride and barium sulfate. So in this activity we demonstrate the precipitation reaction between barium chloride and sodium sulfates. So first, the material required: a test tube which containing the barium chloride solution and another test tube which containing the sodium sulfate solution. So we taken the two test tubes. In one test tube containing the barium chloride solution and in the other test tube containing the sodium sulfate solutions. Then procedure. Now in the procedures, hold the test tube that containing the barium chloride solution in one hand. So hold the test tube that containing the barium chloride solution in one hand and another test tubes which containing the sodium sulfate solution in another hand. So in these tubes containing the barium chlorides and in this tube containing the sodium sulfate. Now add the sodium sulfate solution. Now this is the sodium sulfate solution. Add the sodium sulfate solution to the barium sulfate solutions and shake the test tube after adding. Then after adding, we observe that the white solution precipitate, the white insoluble precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. So after adding the sodium sulfate into the barium chloride, we observe that a white insoluble precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. So when barium chloride react with sodium sulfate Na2SO4, then they exchange their ions to each other and form the barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. So barium sulfate is having the white precipitate. So after the completion of the reactions, we will observe that the white precipitate of the barium sulfate in the test tube. So this reactions indicates that this is a type of the precipitation reactions. So what you concluded that Formation of white precipitate of barium sulfate shows that precipitation reaction between solution of barium chloride and sodium sulfate. Now what happens in this reaction? Barium chloride solution react with the sodium sulfate solution. They form the barium sulfate solution, the barium sulfate white precipitate, and sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is dissolved in the solution, but barium sulfate, which is not soluble in the solution and which is having the white colors as a precipitate. So this is a type of the precipitation reaction. So this activity shows that the given reaction is the precipitation reaction. Now the next, neutralization reaction. So in the neutralization reaction, a reaction in which an acid reacts with alkali to each other to form the salt and water. So acid neutralizes to the alkali or base, and that reaction is called the neutralization reaction and form the salt and water. So acid react with the base or alkali and they form the salt and water. So acid neutralized to the base and form salt and water. So this reaction is called the acid neutralization reaction. So this reaction is called the neutralization reactions. Let's see the examples. Now sodium hydroxide NaOH is a base and hydrochloric acid HCl is a acid. So when base and acid both combine to each other, they form a salt NaCl and water. So this is a type of neutralization reaction. Now KOH potassium hydroxide is a base. When react with the sulfuric acid H2SO4, they form the potassium sulfate, and this is a type of salt. Potassium sulfate is a salt and water. So in this reaction, potassium hydroxide base react with H2SO4 and neutralize the H2SO4 acid, and they form a salt and water. So this is a type of the neutralization reaction. Now here the science buzz. Indicators. What is the indicators? So indicators are a type of organic compounds which show characteristic color in acids and basic solutions. So indicators, suppose that A is indicators, which is a type of organic compounds. When that indicator added in the acids, they show a particular color. When added in the base, this shows a particular colors, and that color is different from the acids. So acid is a type, indicators are the organic compounds which show the characteristic color in acidic and basic mediums. There are basic indicators: litmus paper or litmus solution, phenolphthalein and methyl orange. These three are the commonly used indicators in the laboratory and also in the industry. Now when blue litmus paper added in the acidic medium, they change the blue color of the litmus paper changes into the red. When blue litmus added into the acidic medium, then it changes into the red. But when blue litmus paper added in the basic medium, there will be no change in the color of the blue litmus paper, and also in the neutral medium there will be no change in the color of the blue litmus paper. But in the acidic medium, the blue litmus paper changes into the red, and if blue litmus paper changes into red, that solutions is called the acidic medium or acidic solutions. Red litmus. Now when the red litmus paper added into the basic medium, of basic solutions, then the red litmus changes into blue. So the red litmus indicates about the basic solution and blue litmus indicates about the acidic solution by changing their colors. Now next indicators methyl orange. When methyl orange added in the acidic medium, then orange color of the methyl changes into pink. Now when methyl orange added into the basic medium, the orange color of the methyl changes into yellow. So if methyl orange changes into yellow, that indicates that's the basic medium, and if methyl orange changes into pink, it indicates that the solution is acidic. Now next, the phenolphthalein. Phenolphthaleins in the acidic medium, phenolphthaleins changes into phenolphthalein having no change in the colors. Phenolphthaleins which having generally colorless, phenolphthaleins do not change their colors. When phenolphthalein added into the basic medium, the color of the phenolphthalein changes into pink. So if you taken the phenolphthalein and add the phenolphthalein in a particular solutions, and that solution changes into the pink, it indicates that the given solution is the basic solution. So indicators generally are the organic compounds which show the characteristic color in acidic and basic medium. Now reactivity series of metals. What is the reactivity series? So reactivity series, it is a list of metals which arranging in the decreasing order of their chemical reactivity is called the reactivity series or activity series. So when arrange the metals according to their decreasing order of reactivity from top to the bottoms, they form a series of the metals, and that series of the metal is called the reactivity series or activity series. Let's see the diagrams. Now this is a activity series. In this activity series, the metals are arranged according to their decreasing order of the reactivities. So when you move from potassium to the gold, then their activity will decreases. So potassium is most reactive metals, and platinum is a least reactive metals, and sodium is less reactive than potassium, calcium is less reactive than sodium and potassium, magnesium is less reactive than sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminum is also less reactive than sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. So when we move from top to the bottoms in the reactivity series, the reactivity will decreases. So arranging of the metals according to their decreasing order of the according to their reactivity, chemical reactivity is called the reactivity series or activity series. So dear students, you should try to memorize the reactivity series according to your own level. So in this reactivity series, potassium is more reactive than the other ones, and potassium displaces the other metals from their compounds. Now hydrogen is a type of non-metal, but hydrogen is added in this activity series, included in this activity series, because all the metals are the electropositive elements, and they have the properties to lose their electron and form the positivities. Let's example, potassium lost their 1 electrons and form the K plus ions. Sodium also lost their 1 electron and form the sodium plus ions. Same as like the sodium and potassium, hydrogen also lost their 1 electrons and form the H plus ion. So hydrogen also shows the positivity natures as like the metals. That's why the hydrogen included in the activity series of the metals. So the metals above the hydrogens is more reactive than the hydrogen, and the metals below the hydrogens are less reactive than the hydrogen. In the reactivity series, the top metal is most reactive and the metal at the bottom is least reactive. Now going from bottom to top in the reactivity series, the metals, so when we going from bottom to the top in this reactivity series, then what will happen? Increase in reactivity. So the reactivity of the metals will increases when we move from bottom to the top. That means the magnesium and calcium we will consider, then calcium is more reactive than the magnesium. Now we consider the sodium is more reactive than the other two ones, and potassium is more reactive than other ones. So the reactivity increases. Now next, when we move from bottom to the top, then loss electron more readily to form positive ions. So the reactivity of the metals arrange according to the tendency to lose their electrons. If easily lose their valence electrons, then that metals is more reactive. If the tendency to lose the electron by the metal is less, then that metal is less reactive. So when we move from bottom to the top, the loss of electron by the metal will readily increases and they form the positive ions. So potassium easily release their electrons and form the positive ions than the calcium and other ones. Now next, corrode more readily. So more reactive metals corrode more readily, become stronger reducing agents. So reducing agents are those agents which having the greater tendency to lose their valence electrons. In this series, when we move from bottom to the top, the tendency to loss of electron will increases. So the reducing properties, also reducing agent properties of the element will increases. That means potassium is the stronger reducing agent than the sodium, calcium, magnesium and other ones. Now next activity, the aim of this activity is to demonstrate that the more reactive iron displaces the less reactive copper from copper sulfate. Now for this activity, the material required is a beaker, copper sulfate solution and a clean nail. And in this activity we can demonstrate that iron displaces the copper from the copper sulfate solutions because iron is more reactive than the copper. So procedures. Procedure: first taken the copper sulfate solution in a beaker. So first taken a beaker and taken the copper sulfates which having the blue color in a beaker. Copper sulfate solutions in a beaker, so that having the blue color. Then place an iron nail. This one is the iron nail. Place the iron nail into the beaker and keep it undisturbed for some times. So first take in the copper sulfate solution in a beaker and then add a iron nail, place a iron nail into the beaker and keep it undisturbed for some time. After some time, you will observe that the color of the copper sulfate, which is having the blue, changes to the green after some times, and the color of the iron becomes reddish brown. Why this happens? Because the iron which is more reactive than the copper, iron displaces the copper from the copper sulfate and form the ferrous sulfate FeSO4 and displaces the hydrogens. The FeSO4 which having the green color and copper sulfate which having the blue colors, the copper sulfate break down due to displacement reaction and changes into the copper and form the iron sulfate also. Iron sulfate is having the green colors. So this reaction shows that the given reaction is a type of the displacement reaction. So what we observed that the blue color of the solution changes to dirty green. At the same time, there will be shining coating of reddish brown copper metal on the nail. So on the nail of the iron, the copper goes to deposited. So copper deposited on the iron nail. And due to the deposition of the copper, the color of the iron nail becomes reddish brown. So what we concluded, this changes takes place because iron displaces copper from copper sulfate solution, and the copper displaced from the copper sulfate solution get deposited on the iron nails. So we concluded that in this reaction, the iron displaces the copper sulfate, copper from the copper sulfate, and copper displaced from the copper sulfates and get deposited on the iron nail. Now the reactions taken place in this activity, iron displaces the copper from the copper sulfate and they form the iron sulfate and also the irons. The copper sulfate is having the green colors. Due to that, the color of the solution changes from blue to the green, and reddish brown color deposited on the iron nail due to copper. Now some more example of the displacement reactions are, let's see this reactions when adding the aluminum into the iron oxide solutions, then aluminum displaces the iron from the iron oxide and they form the aluminum oxide and iron, because aluminum is more reactive than the irons, and in the reactivity series, aluminum having the top position as compared to the irons. So aluminum is more reactive than the irons. So aluminum displaces the iron and they form the aluminum oxide and iron is displaced. Now in the second reactions, when iron added into the magnesium chloride solutions, then iron displaces the magnesium and they form the ferrous chloride and magnesium, because iron is more reactive than the magnesium. So iron displaces the magnesium from the magnesium chloride. So these are the examples of displacement reaction. Now next examples. In these reactions, we can see the non-metal participate in the reactions. So chlorine and iodines, these all are the halogen group elements which are the non-metals. So in the halogen group, that means 17 number group, when we move from top to the bottoms, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodines. So fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. When we move from top to the bottoms in this group, halogen group, through these elements, the reactivity of the elements will decreases. So fluorine is more reactive than the chlorine, and chlorine is more reactive than the bromine, and bromine is more reactive than the iodine. So fluorine is most reactive and iodine is least. So in this group, when we move from top to the bottom, the reactivity will decreases. So fluorine displaces the chlorine, and chlorine displaces the bromine, and bromine can be displaced the iodine. So in this reaction, when chlorine gas passes through the potassium iodide solutions, then they form the potassium chlorides and iodines. So chlorine is more reactive than the iodines. So chlorine displaces the iodine and they form the potassium chloride and displace the iodine. So this is also a type of displacement reaction. Now energy changes. As you know that almost all chemical reactions take place with the change of energy in the form of heat. In some chemical reactions, the bonds are break, and in some chemical reactions the bonds are formed or added. So during the breaking down of the bonds of a compound in the reactions, the energy absorbed by the reactants. During the formation of the new bonds between the elements or atoms of a compound, some amount of the energy will released. Then the chemical reaction will take place. So almost all the chemical reactions takes place by the change of the energy in the form of heat. In some reactions, chemical reaction, the heat is absorbed and in the some chemical reaction heat will be released. So on the basis of, now let's see, when a chemical reaction involves breaking a bond, then they absorb the heat, and when the new bond is formed, then they release the energy or release the heat. So on the basis of the absorption or release of the heat, the chemical reaction can be classified into two types: endothermic reaction and the exothermic reactions. Endothermic reaction and the exothermic reactions. So first, endothermic reactions. What is the endothermic reactions? During a reaction, when heat is absorbed by the reactants, that reaction is called the endothermic reactions. So definitions: a chemical reaction in which heat energy is absorbed by the reactant, that reaction is called the endothermic reactions. Let's see the examples. For example, when nitrogen gas heated in the presence of the oxygen, then they formed the nitric oxides. And also this type of the reaction taking place during the thundering in rainy season. During the lightning in the sky, the nitrogen combines with the oxygens and they form the nitric oxides. Now the next example of the endothermic reaction is, we can also write these reactions: nitrogen combined with oxygens, they form the nitric oxides, and minus heat in the side of the product. That means the heat absorbed in the reaction. Now the next example, when calcium carbonate is heated, strongly heated, then they form the calcium oxide and CO2 gas. So calcium carbonate when heated, then they form the calcium oxide and CO2. In this reaction, the heat is absorbed. So this is a type of the endothermic reaction. Now the activities. Aim of this activity is to show that the dissolution of ammonium chloride in water is an endothermic reaction. When ammonium chloride dissolves in the water, then they absorb the heat, and this is an endothermic reactions. So demonstrate this activity. The material required are ammonium chloride, a beaker, a spoon, and water. The procedure: first we take in a beaker and fill it half with water. First take in a beaker and fill the half of this beaker with water. Then dissolve the ammonium chloride, NH4Cl, ammonium chloride in water with the help of a spoon. So added the ammonium chloride in this water and dissolve the ammonium chloride in the water with the help of a spoon. Then touch the beaker with the palm of the hand. So touch the beaker with the palm of hand. After touching, we will observe that the beaker feeling cool. Beaker becomes cool. Why beaker becomes cool? Because when ammonium chloride added in the water, then ammonium chloride absorb the heat energy or heat from the surroundings, that means around the beakers, and they absorb the heat energy from the surrounding of the beakers. So the temperature around the or surrounding of the beaker becomes fall down, and due to fall down of the temperatures, after touching the beaker with the palm of hand, we feel the cool. So observe that the beaker has become cooler. Conclusion: this is because ammonium chloride absorb energy from water and make it cool. So this is a type of endothermic reactions. Thus it is concluded that the dissolution of ammonium chloride in water is an endothermic changes or endothermic reaction. Now next one is the exothermic reaction. Now in the exothermic reactions, the heat is released after the completion of the reactions during formation of the products. So a chemical reaction in which heat energy is liberated along with the formation of products is called an exothermic reaction. So in these reactions, the heat is released after completion of the reaction. So the temperature becomes rise. As for example, when calcium oxide, quicklime, added into the water, they form the slacked lime, calcium hydroxide, and produces a lot of heat. Calcium oxide, quicklime is also called the chuna. When chuna added into the water, they form the calcium hydroxide, slacked lime, and produce a lot of heat. When you touch the solution of the chuna, then you will feel a lot of heat in the solution of the quicklime, because the production of or the release of the heat. Now the next, when nitrogen react with hydrogen to form the ammonia, the heat is liberated. So nitrogen, when combined with the hydrogen, they form ammonia and liberated a lot of heat. So these two are the example of exothermic reaction. Now the activity, aim of this activity is to show that neutralization reaction is an acid with a base is an exothermic reaction. So the neutralization reaction of an acid and base is an exothermic reaction. The required materials are a flask, sodium hydroxide solution, dilute hydrochloric acid solution, and phenolphthalein. Procedure: first, taken about 50 milliliter of sodium hydroxide in a flask. So first taken a sodium hydroxide, 50 milliliter sodium hydroxide in this flask, and added the phenolphthalein. After adding the phenolphthaleins, the color of the sodium hydroxide in this flask becomes pink. Now then added the hydrochloric acid solution, dilute hydrochloric acid solution in this flask, that containing the sodium hydroxide and phenolphthaleins. Drop by drop adding the hydrochloric acid in this solution and continuously shaking these solutions. After adding the hydrochloric acid drop by drop, then the color of the solution becomes colorless due to the neutralization of NaOH with the acids. So we will observe that the solution becomes colorless and the flask become hot. So the flask become hot because this is a type of exothermic reaction, and the color of the phenolphthaleins that was pink becomes colorless after adding the hydrochloric acids. This indicates that the hydrochloric acid neutralizes the sodium hydroxide, which is a base, and after neutralization the color becomes neutral. The color becomes colorless due to the formation of neutral salt sodium chloride. The point where the solution becomes colorless is called the neutralization point. And it can be concluded that the neutralization of acid with a base is an exothermic reaction because the flask become hot. So this is all about the displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, precipitation reaction, neutralization reactions, exothermic, endothermic reaction, and activity series of the metals. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.